I thought I would talk about Gotham Knights because it seems like everyone's giving it a lot of hate lately, and I feel it really doesn't deserve it. Now, I've only been playing the game for 3 hours, so this is just going to be a first impressions review. I'll do a longer review later when I beat the game. After playing for 3 hours, getting a chance to play a little bit with every character, level up to about level 4, see multiple cutscenes, and fight a bunch of criminals. And I'm not that far into the game, but I've been really enjoying everything I've played so far. What I have on screen right now is scenes from my own gameplay, my Twitch stream, which you can find a link in the description if you so choose. I think it's a very good game, personally. That's what I want to say first off. I admit that I'm not that far into it. It's essentially a open world roguelite Batman game with some like RPG, kind of like Diablo a little bit, with how abilities work and gaining experience over time and everything. But from the point I'm at, I've had a lot of fun so far, just like running around and like stopping street crimes and getting little bits of story here and there. And I think the story progression so far has been really neat in the way they do it, like because you're stopping street crimes, which also gives you access to these larger crimes, and then you go there to possibly get some information to progress the main storyline. And I think that just the way that does that is kind of neat. I mean, like, I haven't played too much of it, but I think it's a really cool way to do this, especially if they're doing multiple nights. Because any of the Batman Arkham games, it only takes place over one night, and I feel this takes a little more realistic approach because Batman's doing like so many things, especially in the ones like really long ones like Arkham Knight. There's so many side crimes and stuff. It's like there's no way you do this all in one night. This makes it make a lot more sense because you can only do so much per night, and that's kind of limited by how much health packs you have, which I think is kind of a neat mechanic. Anyway, I thought I'd talk about a few things that's just what I think. You know, make your own opinions, but like, I just feel that most of what people have been doing has been kind of like, it feels like people decided before they even played the game that they didn't like it, and they're just like looking for things to not like about it, you know, because it feels like they're really grasping at straws. The thing I hear people say the most, and this is already kind of like, I feel like a red flag of people just grasping at straws, but is the frame rate, you know, which I haven't seen any problems with. A lot of people have been mad that it's like maxed out 30 FPS when it could be 60 FPS and all this stuff, but it's just like, to me, I mean, graphics, personally, I think graphics are like the least important thing in any video game. It's like the thing you should concentrate on last, is what I think personally, when you're making a video game. Just in that, while you're making a video game, graphics feel like they should become last because they're like least important. I'd say the most important thing is probably controls, because if your controls are wonky, people aren't going to want to play your game. So it's just strange to me that everyone's like concentrate on the 30 FPS as like this huge problem when I personally think everything looks really good. You know, it's not like the best thing in the world, you know, but it's not like the worst either. And I haven't seen any like real bad lagging problems. I haven't had any lagging problems at all, actually. But just in how up in arms everyone's been about it, it's just so strange to me, because like that's like not even a problem to me, because everything plays and looks great. Graphics are not an issue at all. I don't care that it's only 30 FPS versus 60 FPS. Film is, when you go to a movie and they're showing you on film, it's only 24 frames per second, and that all looks fine, doesn't it? That's just what I think, and graphics don't matter anyway. I don't want to play a game without any graphics at all, but like games with low quality graphics can be just as good as AAA games and stuff. Just look at like Return of the Obra Dinn is a really good example, I think, of something that's an amazing game, and it doesn't need good graphics to tell its story. And I feel this game could have slightly worse graphics and I'd still be pleased with it. As long as lagging's not an issue, which it isn't for this game. But I think this game is doing something new and different, and maybe people just want another Arkham game, and I don't know, I think the Arkham games are kind of over, personally. I don't see a reason to make another one, outside of they sell like hotcakes, but it's like, you know, I'm glad that they're putting it to bed, the Rocksteady or Warner Brothers Games as a company. I feel it had its run. It had a good run. It was starting to reach that stage when it also felt they were kind of grasping at straws there for like story elements. Like the whole Arkham Knight twist is like one of the lamest twists, you know, where they reveal who the Arkham Knight is. Which I won't tell you here, but I will show you some images of me playing with Jason Todd for a bit. Why not? Another thing I keep hearing people talk about is they keep comparing this to Arkham Knight and saying that Arkham Knight is like the creme de la creme or something. And it's like, you know, Arkham Knight had a lot of problems. I feel like I just mentioned the tank in that, you know, all the tank controls and tank mechanics and stuff. And it's just like, yeah, maybe you guys should play through that one again before you start saying how great it is. And this, with the Bat Bike, I feel they took the Batmobile mechanics from that, removed the tank entirely, and you can just use it to get around the city. And I think it's really fun. Another thing I hear people complain about a lot is that how empty Gotham City is in this, and there's like actually people just walking around and stuff, and like sometimes when I'm like scanning, I see like white silhouettes of just civilians out in the street doing their thing, you know? And it's like, oh, life is going on around. Or like when you're driving around, there's like cars everywhere, cars on the road, cars parked to the side, other drivers and stuff, pedestrians. Sometimes I run into pedestrians, be like, whoops. Compared to the Arkham games, especially Arkham City and Arkham Knight, well, especially those two, like those two like were especially dead cities. The only people out on the street were criminals, and in City there were like occasionally people being attacked, but like that was it. Unlike this, that actually makes it feel like Gotham City is alive with people just walking around, doing their thing, living their lives, you know? Like those cities were dead, especially Gotham Knight, because like the only people on the street were tanks and criminals again, you know? And like occasionally you would see like a policeman chasing a criminal, you could stop them in your tank. In your Batmobile. But that was basically it. And like, because everyone was avoiding the street, there was always a reason for people to be avoiding the street, but this being that it takes place over multiple days, like, you know, if there weren't people out on the street, it would feel like where the hell is everyone? But people are talking about it like that is the case. Like, it is like, where the hell is everyone? But that's not. I mean, there's people everywhere. I was just playing last night, and I was just like, tagging some bad guys and noticed that there was like a bunch of like white silhouettes, like, oh, those are citizens. They're just like, there's a guy sitting on a pork bench, there's some people just milling about, you know, and just breathes life into a city that in the past games always felt like they were cities that had been abandoned or something like that, like right before a hurricane or something. So I kind of feel like people are just like overdosing on nostalgia or something there. took a large hit of nostalgia and just are misremembering things for how they were. But aside from that, let me tell you my review. My biggest complaint is there are a couple of glitches I ran into. None of them were game breaking or anything, but one of them was really amusing because it was like a person stuck in the floor. But I figured it out eventually. It was the first person I was going to interview after I got the ability to interview. It's ironic, but I figured it out. And it didn't break the game. It like put me in the floor with them while I was interviewing them, but then like, right after that we were both above ground. It's like, okay, good. Not game breaking, just kind of strange. I'm hoping those things are fixed with the next update, next patch. I really like the roguelite feel to it, because when you go to investigate a crime, there's not like permadeath. You can't like get Batgirl killed or anything, or Nightwing killed, or anything like that. But there is a perma-fail, is what I would call it. A perma-fail mechanic to it that means that when you like go to a crime and you fail it, it's permanently failed. This isn't true for things in the main storyline where you'll have continue points and start from there, but it is true of any street crime. If you die, it's failed, then they succeeded for the night, and it makes that particular faction stronger the next night, from what I've heard. I haven't really noticed that yet, but I'm hoping it becomes more apparent as I play more. Like I said, the leveling up mechanic is neat, but I haven't really done too much with it yet. Just with the skill trees and having to unlock everyone's final skill tree one at a time, which also gives you another way to get around the city. I haven't done that yet either, but it sounds neat. I'll tell you more with my longer review later. Oh, it's not really a complaint, but like at first when I started playing it, I think it's just because I'm so used to those Arkham games, I immediately started trying to control it like Arkham and found out like, oh, that's not the case. It just took me a little while to get used to the controls, because I would say the controls are similar enough to Arkham that it's like a little bit of a hump that you have to get over if you're like really used to those other games. Overall, I would say this is a very good experience, at least from the 3 hours I've spent with it so far, and playing with each character, and they're different enough that it was kind of fun just doing that. This just meant as a quick review. It's my first video game review, but I've been reviewing movies and books and things in the past. I'm going to do more like this in the future, and more things for Gotham Knights, I think, coming out, so please like and subscribe if you're interested in seeing that. Also, I have links in the description for some of the things I'm up to, including a comic that parodies the MCU, or my Twitch stream, like I said. So, yeah, just check me out, and look forward to those Gotham Knights videos I'll make in the future.